Okay, so now here I am in the tessellation gallery. So this is where we are going to put our tessellations together. I've made these slides larger than the average Google Slides to give us some more space to work with. So first I'm going to insert my photo. So I took my good photo and I'm going to insert by clicking insert, and then wherever I have my photo stored. So in my Google Drive or wherever, I have it uploaded to my computer. So I'm going to select my image right there. All right, so I did my very best to line up the bottom edge of my triangle with the bottom edge of my picture. And then something else I need to pay attention to is when I insert my image, I want to make sure that this little circle thingy, I don't know what it's called, but this little circle thingy is sort of aligned with the point, the vertex of my triangle. It doesn't really matter which one, but probably the top one would be best. If it's over here, that's not going to work. So if you insert your photo and you're seeing that, you may either want to take a new photo or just open your photo in some sort of editing app. I used Preview on my laptop and I just rotated so that my point of my triangle was facing upward in my image so that when I inserted it in, it would be facing properly. So the next thing that we're gonna do once we have the image centered is we're gonna, if we want to, we can edit the image a little bit. So to do that, what I'll do is I'm gonna go to Format and then click on Format Options. It's gonna pop up the little panel over here. Normally it just looks like this. I'm gonna open up the Adjustments section and I'm gonna increase the brightness. All right, I think that looks great. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crop. I wanna get rid of all of this area here that is the table in my photograph. So I don't want that because I wanna be able to copy and paste and rotate and stuff with my tile and create a tessellation. But right now it's a rectangle shape. So I want to crop it and mask it so that I am making a triangle shape. So what I'll do is I'm gonna double click on the image and it's gonna bring up these crop marks. Okay, so I'm gonna crop very tightly around the triangle. It's gonna end up that I am cropping out a teeny bit of my artwork on the lion's face, but that is okay. And I'm going to, so see this little black bar here underneath that round circle thingy I was talking about? When I'm cropping, I'm gonna try to align that little black bar with the top vertex, the top tip of my triangle. Okay, so I am gonna crop tightly around the edges here. So when I do that, it brings it all the way over here. I'm gonna do that to the other side. And I'm gonna see where I end up. So it looks like I could move over a teeny bit more this way. And we are going for quite precise. Okay, a little bit more maybe. So unfortunately, I am gonna be cropping off tiny little part over here and tiny little part of my red panda face, but it's gonna be worth it in the end. So now I have this little black bar on my crop, I guess my crop edges is now lined up as much as I can with my top vertex of my triangle. I'm gonna bring it down and I'm gonna bring it a tiny bit more over. There we go, perfect. Okay, so I know that this is cropping out a tiny bit of my triangle, but there's nothing really I can do about it. I think it's gonna be better if I line this top vertex up. So there we go. Okay, now I've completed the cropping phase. I'm going to move on to the masking phase. So this is the crop image symbol right here. I'm going to move over to that little arrow and I'm going to choose mask image. And then I'm going to choose from the shapes menu, I'm going to choose the equilateral triangle. So I'm looking for this one that just says triangle. Do not use the right angle triangle, just use this one. Okay, so click on that And there we go, it's masked it for me. And now it's like a perfect triangle for me to use to tessellate with. So there are a couple things that could go wrong in that whole masking phase. So one of the things is you may need to adjust the top of your triangle over slightly, depending on how much you work to get that black bar lined up. Another thing that might happen is if you don't have this round circle at the top and you hit mask image and it's at the side, it will create a triangle this way, facing this way, with the point over here. Okay, so if that happens, then remember you need to go into a different editing software and rotate it, or you could take a different picture of your tile. Okay, so now we have our tile ready to tessellate with. So we're going to shrink it. So what I'm doing is I'm holding down my shift key, and then I'm just using those little boxes in the corner to resize it. I definitely want to make sure I'm holding down my shift key, because if I don't, it might end up skewing the proportions and changing it so that it's like not the same length on all the edges. So I want to hold down my shift key anytime I resize something. Okay, now I'm going to copy paste. So Control C, Control V, or edit, copy, edit, paste. Okay, now I have a triangle that is not matching with this. Remember how when we were sliding our other shape over and it was just matching when we would slide it? This one, it's not going to work that way. Also, the other problem is this lemur face needs to line up with this lemur face. So in order to do that, first I'm going to reflect my tile. So I'm going to click on Arrange. I'm going to click on Rotate. It's weird that it's under the Rotate, but it is. And I'm going to click Flip Horizontally. Okay, now my lemur is on the correct side. But I need to rotate it so that this edge is touching this edge. So how I do that is I click on that little circle thing at the top. I hold down my mouse, and then I just move my cursor in the direction that I want to rotate. So when I do this, I like to sort of line up the two corners and then finish the rotation. Make this line, this white line here in between them, as even as possible. And then I just use my arrow keys on my keyboard to place them together here. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the original tile. I'm going to copy paste it. And I want to line up this lion over here with this lion over here. So I'm going to reflect it, and then I shouldn't have to rotate it actually. I'm just going to reflect it. So I'm going to click on Range, Rotate, and then this time I'm going to choose Flip Vertically. There. So it's up to you. You can follow along with the video very closely, or you can just experiment with the arrange, rotate, and then flip horizontal, flip vertical. And if it doesn't do what you wanted it to do, then you can just undo that and try again. So now I have a choice. I can decide to either continue copying and pasting my original tile and then reflecting and rotating it to fill in these other three, or I can select all three of these and then copy and paste them all together. So how to do that is I'm going to click on each tile by hold down the shift key as I do that. So holding down shift, I have all of them together. I can actually group things in Google Slides as well. So I'm going to click on Arrange, Group. That's an optional step. And then copy paste. So now I have exactly the same thing, but it needs to line up. So what do I need to do? I need to flip it. So I'm going to go to Arrange, Rotate, and Flip Horizontally or Flip Vertically. I think I'm going to flip horizontally. Yes. Okay. So now rotate so that that lion face lines up with that lion face. So this is where the art part with the art and math comes in. There is some finesse and there is a little bit of overlapping involved. I know that we said tessellations are patterns that don't have any gaps or overlapping, but because of the sort of imperfect nature of what we're doing this by hand, but we're also using technology. There are definitely opportunities for issues to occur. All right, so it isn't perfect, but I have most of the lion's face and most of the lemur's face correct, sort of lined up. I do have this area here where it's very noticeable. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a shape. And maybe I might make two shapes. So one of them for the black area and one of them for the lion's mane. So I'm going to just make a dark colored shape, and then I'll make an orange shape. I'm just doing rectangles. And then I'm going to format these, or arrange these so that they're the very back. So I'm going to go to send to back. And I'll place that back there. And I'm going to place this to the back as well. And I'll place that right there. Makes it look a lot better, and you can hardly notice the issues with lining up that are happening. So what I can also do is I can group all these together. So I just select everything by drawing a box around them with my mouse. And then I'm going to go to arrange group, and then I can move them over to the middle. And then if I wanted to sort of cover up this edge that looks a little weird, I can make a shape that's going to be a border around it. So this is a 6-sided hexagon. So I can draw a hexagon. I may need to rotate it so that it lines up with my own. Okay, and then I can change the fill to transparent, and then I'm gonna use this neon orange color as my border because that matches with my neon green color, matches with my neon green. And then I'm gonna change the weight of this line to the biggest that it can go. And then I'll maybe see if I can tighten that up a little bit. And if I really didn't want to have these black areas on the outside, I can cover them up with a rectangle that I draw in color white, and then just send that behind this frame. So we'll just say order, send backward. So think about this as adding detail or paying attention to detail. And if we were doing this with paper, we would be cutting and trimming and sort of refining that way. But instead, we're doing that digitally. All right, and there's my finished tessellation. It looks awesome. It has a cool border around it. That is all. Thanks for watching.